hot, wet, equatorial climate. As we in our previous lectures have discussed various climates, so in that series this hot, wet, equatorial climate is also there. So first thing first, the latitudinal expansion of this kind of climate is 5 to 10 degree north and south in both the hemispheres. 5 to 10 degree in both the hemispheres. Places as far as are concerned, so here this portion Indonesia, all right, and Malaysia, Singapore. If you come in the African continent, here there is Congo basin. Congo is also one of the biggest and longest river, and in this portion you can take the example of Ecuador, okay, Peru, Colombia, and Peru. The biggest expansion of this kind of climate is where?
Equatorial.
In Amazon basin. In Amazon basin. So this is the expansion in these places. We can experience this hot, wet, equatorial climate. Why it is hot? Because this 5 to 10 degree north to south, as you know, almost it is connected to the equator. So naturally we will feel the sunlight throughout the year. Why wet? Because hotness generates the evaporation, and almost every day, believe me, there is not even a single day in a year when rainfall does not happen. So if anyone has fallen in love with rain, he must go and settle down in these places. By the way, these places are not good for settling down. And equatorial is obviously because it is related to the equator. As far as the precipitation is concerned, I have told that there is not even a single day in a year when rainfall does not happen. And when the rainfall takes place, naturally we will experience a very rich vegetation. Very rich vegetation. When you go in this Indonesia and Malaysia and you take a certain square of land and count the varieties, it is almost 10 times more the varieties which you will experience in the temperate zone. So this is a very unique feature of this hot, wet and equatorial climate because of this heavy precipitation. Okay. Other than this vegetation, if you talk about the temperature variation, as what happens in case of Delhi, during the month of this December and January, we experience a nail-biting cold, and in May and June, I think we should change this May and June, calling May and June the summer of that time, because this time the summer can be very easily be accepted, as the coolers also work very in a good manner. But the summer which happens during this right now, which is going on, August, September, the humidity, the cooler also does not work. So you can experience the one when the nail-biting cold is there, and the one when the winter, summer, when we feel like removing everything wearing on our body. Here you will experience the same temperature throughout the year, no matter you are in January, no matter you are in June. throughout the year you will experience the same temperature, and it is because of the everyday rainfall. Let me convince you by citing the example of there is a place Ecuador. Its capital is what?
Cuba.
No, Cuba is a different country.
Kyoto.
Okay. Okay, don't
Cuba country.
get confused with this Kyoto, as Kyoto is located in Japan. Okay, this Kyoto. The annual range of temperature variation in this place is only 0.7 degree Fahrenheit. 0.7. No matter it is January, no matter it is June. Not even 1 degree Fahrenheit. You take the example of Colombia, the capital Bogota or Bogota. The annual temperature variation is only 1 degree Fahrenheit. You compare it with India. So when there is no any temperature variation, why there will be 4 seasons like we are experiencing? So this heavy amount of rainfall develops a homogeneous temperature throughout the year, and because of this heavy precipitation you will also experience what? The evergreen rainforest. Why they are called evergreen? Because what happens in our side? In winter the trees shed off their leaves, and in a different time period they get a different and the new leaves. In where your evergreen forest, even in Andaman where India has the evergreen, where your evergreen forests are there, these forests don't have any specific time to shed off their leaves, any specific time to get the new leaves, and any specific time for anything. So when on the one side the one tree is completely naked, the other one will be enjoying the full of greenery, and a different one will be laden of the big and beautiful flowers. So you will see simultaneously all the things are happening. There is no specific period for shedding of the leaves for all the trees. So when this does not happen, we naturally experience that, oh, what a greenery is there, because no matter in which month you will always find the beauty, the serenity, the greeneriness. Although there will be some plants which may have shed off their leaves, but you will always find some of the trees, those are as dressed as a newly married woman. So such a dense vegetation is only experienced in this hot, wet and equatorial climate. Now let me discuss some other things. What kind of the trees are grown or available here. So you can divide the whole vegetation of this hot, wet equatorial climate in 4 parts. In this forest, I don't think there is any other place on the planet Earth where you can find more dense forest than this one. Sometimes the land does not experience the sunlight continuously for 4, 5 or 6 years because of the denseness of the forest. The sunlight is not able to penetrate those dense leaves or those dense forest. So you can divide the whole vegetation of this climate in 4 ways, and the first vegetation or the trees which have the maximum length almost 150 feet. 150 feet.
50-60 मीटर.
You can calculate it by using the mathematics. All right. So these trees which have the maximum length, obviously they are having the maximum length, so no any tree will be above them. So what will happen? They will experience the 100% of sunlight, as there is no any other tree above them which is working as an umbrella. And these trees, those are experiencing the 100% sunlight, they are called what? Emergent. Emergent trees. Because of the dense vegetation, there is always a competition to get the sunlight, as it is among the UPSC aspirants. What a cutthroat competition is there. It is known as the world's toughest. However, technically when you go, so I think it comes in either second or in the third position. But in terms of number of the students who are participating, that is the toughest one. So there is always a struggle to secure the marks. In the same way, the vegetation which is present here, always there is a struggle among the trees, because every tree wants to achieve a good amount of sunlight, and that tree can only achieve the good amount of sunlight when that tree is attaining the more height than its competitor one. And because of this struggle, because of this nature of competition, some trees attain very heavy height, and emergent plants are one of them, more than 150 feet. However, their number is not as much as the trees who experience the 75% sunlight, the total amount of 75% sunlight, and these trees are known as canopy. Canopy. Their number is the maximum one, canopy. No doubt they are the longest one, but their number is not as much as the canopy one. And as the name canopy itself gives an hint that a sort of tent-like structure. So because of such a huge number and such a huge area covered by these canopy trees, when you cross by your aeroplane over the countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, Congo, Amazon basin, Ecuador, Colombia, you will see the ocean of forests. You will see a marriage party is going on where the green color tent is spread. So, and because of this kind of structure, these structures are only broken when they meet with any natural means differentiation. For instance, if any river is there, then what? The plant cannot grow on the water. And the Amazon and these rivers are very wide in nature. So that will work as a demarcation line. If there is any hill, then what will happen? That will also work a sort of demarcation line. Otherwise, you will see the ocean of the forest, the ocean of the greenery. You can see the ocean of the grass, grass in terms of color. So these are the canopy. Now you go in the third category, which will experience the 50% of sunlight, and these trees are known as understory. Understory. They get the 50% of the total amount of sunlight, as the sunlight is getting obstructed by the canopy and by the emergent one. And the last category By the way, they are not the trees, they are the shrubs and you can say grasses, as they are experiencing the 25% of the sunlight. So this is the nature of the vegetation which is experienced in this kind of climate. What do you think? The trees, as there are so much trees, obviously the wood will also be there. There is a term called lumbering. When we cut the wood and sell in the market, what do you think? Is it very well developed in these forests, as the forest have huge amount of trees? Lumbering is very famous in the temperate, like in Canada or in these kinds of places. But my question is, what is your idea? This lumbering is well developed in this kind of climate, or there is some problem?
डेवलप्ड ही होगा.
No, it is not developed. Because if you use your common sense, you will definitely get this. And this is being done by the various commissions. Once in history, a question was asked where the which was the session of the Congress which was arranged in a village. That was the only conference of the Congress, and there were the options, and the last option was the Belgaon.
Not bad.
And everybody ticked the Belgaon because they thought that this question related to village, Gaon.
रामपुर.
It was Rampur or it was Faiz, from where Jawaharlal Nehru?
I think रामपुर.
Rampur. I think it was Faizpur, Faiz something.
फैजपुर.
Maybe Rampur. Okay, we will check. We ourselves don't know. And I am raising the question. Anyway, but my objective was that Belgaon was not the right answer. The way Gurgaon is not any Gaon, in the same way the Belgaon was not. But if anyone who does not have the idea of Gurgaon, he will naturally think that, oh, it's a Gurgaon, so it should be village. I don't think there is any village or any Gaon more developed than Gurgaon. So, in this forest, what happens? The lumbering is not possible. Why? Because if you want to cut the tree, first of all, you have to reach inside the forest. And the forests are so dense that it has almost impossible to reach there. And even if you are managing somehow to reach, what do you think? You can carry such a heavy wood on your back?
No.
You require the four-wheelers, you require, some other vehicles. And you cannot have your four-wheelers on your back to get that lumbering. If you were that much powerful, then you yourself were sufficient enough to get that wood. Why would you go there with your four-wheeler on your back? So these forests are so dense that the construction of the road is almost impossible. Leave aside the development of the railway, because the development of railway in this region is not as developed as in the temperate or in any other parts of the world. So these are some of the problems. The accessibility is a very big challenge for these people. Here the rivers are there, and through those rivers the wood can be transported from one place to another. But again, the problem is that the weight of the wood, those are available in this forest, is so heavy that they get submerged into water. Again, a problem. And if somewhere you are finding the trees, what happens that the trees which have the economic importance, they are very, sparsely present. Sparsely means their number is very less. So your input and output ratio, wherever they are present, they are very dense, where you cannot get the accessibility, and where is the accessibility, the number is very, very less. So you cannot spend 100 rupees in order to get the profit of 10 rupees. Again, one more challenge, that these places are not like the polar or the Siberia, where you have a thick layer of ice which can be used as a sort of skating, where you can place your wood and slip it off. So these are some challenges because of this lumbering is not very well developed. If you talk about the crops, so crops, they don't grow as much. We Indians grow and various varieties. Maize you can found in some places, but majority of the money comes in these regions because of the cocoa and this latex, rubber. The two countries, this Indonesia, Malaysia, and if you include Thailand, believe me, they produce more than 2/3 production of the rubber in the world. By the way, you will be surprised to know the original place of the rubber production was this Amazon basin. But in Amazon basin, due to accessibility, it has become very cost ineffective to get the wild rubber from here. And these Indonesia, Thailand and Malaysia, these places, by using some modern techniques, they developed this rubber plantation and they have defeated the original place which was known for the rubber. That's why they are producing the more than 2/3 production of the rubber in the world. Cocoa happens in these places. Here, cocoa. So the main is the rubber and the cocoa, which have a very huge economic importance for these people. Other than this, if you talk about the life of the people here, how they are living. But before life, I want to tell one more thing that is related to the root system. The root of the plants. You may have seen the root of a tree called eucalyptus, which is very famous in our country. The root is highly deep into the soil. Am I right or not? And that is an enemy of environment, especially of the water. In my village, there was an hand pump, and just beside that was eucalyptus tree. Believe me, after a year, the hand pump became completely dysfunctional because all the water has been drank by that eucalyptus. So the roots of eucalyptus, that root is called the taproot, which goes deep into the soil. But the root, the trees those are present here, their root does not go very deep into the soil. Why? Because, any idea? They have what? The buttress root, which does not go deep into the soil as the taproot goes. Maximum they can go 6 to 7 inches. Beyond that, you will not find the root of these trees. The reason is very simple, because why the root goes into the soil? In order to get the nutrients and the water. These are the two basic things which gravitate the root to go into the deep soil. In this forest, what happens that the nutrients in the soil, by the way, look, there is a misconception among the people that these trees have a very rich and nutrient soil. No, it is not right. This question has been asked 2 to 3 times by UPSC. And why the soil is not nutrient? Because of the everyday rainfall. And this everyday rainfall is responsible for the leaching. When the rainfall keep on happening, the water will come in the contact of the whatever nutrients are there, and they will what happen? They will washed away by that water. And this is also one of the reasons, if these forests are being cut, believe me, to grow them again is more difficult than any other type of forest. Because of this problem, because the deficiency of the nutrients. So these forests don't have the soil very nutrient in nature, and leaching is the biggest reason behind this. Why don't go the roots of these trees into the deep soil? Because the top layer of the soil, the nutrients are present, whatever nutrients are there, they are present in that layer only. Therefore, what happens that these roots, instead of going deep into the soil, they start spreading horizontally on the earth's surface. Maximum depth 6 to 7 inches. Once the 6 to 7 inches getting completed here, the root will shift little horizontally. So this kind of development of root is known as the buttress root, as opposed to tap root, which is experienced in the temperate forest. So this buttress root, the deficiency of the nutrients in the soil because of the everyday rainfall, which enables the leaching process. These are the famous segments from where the commissions always raise the question. One or two things are remaining in connection to this kind of climate, and one of them is the life of the people, how they survive there. Look, these places are no doubt they're rich in terms of flora and fauna, but as the temperature is very high, because of this kind of temperature, the humidity, that humidity gets converted in evaporation and rainfall. The whole process takes place. Because of this humidity and this high temperature, the physical stamina of the people who live here, it gets decreases drastically. Their mental alertness gets compromises a lot, and because of these reasons, these countries are facing a very big challenge to defeat the developed nation like Europe and America, because the climate is very, very favorable. I mean, look, the light is not there and we are taking the lecture. Means light is there, but the fan and not working. If there were air condition, I think the alertness of your mind, body and soul would be somewhat different. This is the reason in all the institutions in Mukherjee Nagar, they provide the best weather or the temperature. If there are two institutes, both are asking the same amount of money, one has the air conditioner and the other one not, you will never go to that one which does not have, because it will not, support to your body, and you will not be very alert. So this is a big problem which is being faced by these people, but their hard work and their dedication has definitely, you can say, challenged to the nature. That's why in the places like Indonesia and Malaysia, they have gone against the nature and developed a good variety of vegetation, as I have given you the example of rubber. So naturally these places are not very comfortable for the human survival, but because of our hard work, we have changed these places as a good habitable place up to a certain extent. So these places which are very rich in terms of flora and fauna, which seem like heaven, sometimes become like hell if anyone thinks to live permanently. So there are some positive things, some negative things are also. The flora and fauna is a good thing, but at the same time you have to bear the brunt of this uncontrollable heat and humidity, which will ultimately affect your mental alertness, your effectivity, and you will compromise almost in all sphere of your life. But your dedication, your precipitation, your hard work can definitely do something. In this perspective, we need to understand the hot, wet equatorial climate. In our next lecture, we will discuss a different climate. Namaskar.